What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video of Fat 5. Today we'll be fixing my atrocious front bumper sag. Now, if you think this is clickbait from the title, it is not clickbait. I will be fixing this for free, but that is considering that you have all the basic tools you need to do DIY at home, which if you're watching this, you would. Now let's get into it. It's a quick and easy 10-minute job and it will cost me virtually nothing except my time. Now, before we actually get into the video, I think it's good to address why your bumper sags in the first place. Now, as you all know, when a car gets older, just like humans, things start to break. Treat this as like your skin getting loose once you get past 70 years old. But essentially, your bumper can sag in many different ways, but the main two ways that I found was either you have clips that hook onto the things that actually can break over time from, say, if you hit something like this part, or just naturally deteriorating from the harsh weather or the environment. The second way, for me, I think, is for my car specifically, I have like this metal rod that goes underneath the headlight, which the bumper actually clips onto and hold onto. So over time, once you put pressure and weight on that, it actually starts to bend, and thus your bumper starts to sag. So as you can see here, we have this giant gap in between. So in this video, I will be fixing it for free, and it's an easy 10-minute job that you can do. Now the first step will obviously be to remove the front bumper, but to do so, for my car, of course, you remove, there's a plastic trim here on both sides, you remove that, and then you can proceed to take this off by prying these clips out. Once you do that, you have a couple of bolts and screws. So you actually have a screw here, same on the other side, and I think 3 bolts underneath, same on the other side. Now, depending on your car and condition, things could be easier or harder, but that's just how you remove it. Alright, so now that we got the bumper off, of course you want to disconnect your fog lights if you have them. You don't want it to be hanging off the fog light wire, which is really bad for it, but I didn't take it fully off because there are zip ties holding my bumper and my rear splash plate together. So now, as you can see, this was the metal bar that I was talking about. You see that how this clips, these is where the bumper clips in, and you can see how it actually is a bit angled. So the simple fix, of course, is this, a block of wood. Now, if you guys have seen my headlight video, you probably would remember how I mentioned how I found wood under the headlights. Turns out that those 2 blocks of wood under here were actually fixing the bumper sag. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cut this wood to the size of here, and I'm basically just gonna prop it up under here so it kind of lifts this up and the bumper looks less saggy. But at the same time, I will also readjust this bar by undoing this bolt here and kind of moving it up, then tightening it down again. Of course, you can just do that alone, but that won't fix it properly. It will still come back eventually. The block of wood just acts extra support so that it doesn't actually sag again in the future. But my method only works if you have your bumpers attached to a bar like this. If it's just plastic clips and the clips are broken, then this can't apply to you. You're gonna have to plastic weld the clips or just get a new bumper. So let's get into it.
Now, unsurprisingly, this did not take 10 minutes. Rather, it took about half a day of measuring, cutting, and fitting. And by the time I was done, it was pitch black, I was covered in mozzie bites, and my arm felt like it was going to fall off. But the results turned out way better than I originally expected. But that's not really the point, because if it was, I wouldn't be here making a voiceover in the middle of my video. What I'm really trying to say is that even the small things can be challenging, and this doesn't just apply to cars. Your ability to push through the hard work is when you start to see real results. And as someone who grew up with zero mechanical experience and loved watching DIY tutorials like Chris Fix, I learned that not everything is sunshine and rainbows like it is on camera. In reality, things are bound to go wrong, and you'll be wasting time, effort, and money trying to figure it out. Now, the reason I started this channel wasn't to just document my journey, but also to show you the reality of working on cars. From staying up all night trying to figure out what's leaking, or spending weeks on end searching for that one specific exterior trim piece, or accidentally pouring chemicals onto your clear coat, my intention is not to only show you my experience, but also the solutions to if you ever come across these problems like me. And this is where the real joy comes from, the process. Because I rather spend my time struggling and learning something new than having it go smoothly and learn nothing. And I think that's a mindset everyone should adopt. Because in reality, none of your projects or tasks will ever go smoothly.
All right, so now that we cut it out, after sliding in, you can obviously see there is a huge difference between the gap of this and the gap of the headlight. So once we put the bumper on, now the bumper sag should be gone. Right, guys, so now that we finally finished and reassembled the bumper, you can see the gap is no longer there. Now this isn't a perfect fitment, but I'm not really fussed about it. It is a daily driver, and in the future I'm probably going to be replacing this front bumper anyways, so this is more of just a temporary solution to make it look not as bad. But you can see there is no more gap in between. My bumper no longer sags. Now I can't really push these in, so I have to tighten this down as well. Now also to be mindful, when you're cutting your wood, you make sure to actually cut it off before it reaches over the frame here, because if it reaches over and you try to push it in, the corners will obviously push out the bumper and you create these little holes. But I'm not a huge fuss about it. Car looks a lot better now. Bumper gap is gone, which I'm happy about.